Howdy everyone on YouTube and across cyberspace. Thanks for tuning into my video. Thank you for watching the WatchBox review. And in this installment we're going to be taking a look at the 20 ATM 200 meter water resistant Invicta F0066 Pro Diver timepiece. Okay, so what you're looking at is the watch on my arm. My wrist is 60 millimeters going across, and it fits me very comfortably. I have a very wide, flat wrist, or a somewhat wide but very flat wrist, and it fits me very comfortably. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to take a close look at the watch in further detail. Okay, so here we are. Let's go through just some of the physical attributes first, and then I'll transition over into my personal subjective preferences towards the latter half of this review. So first of all, lug end to lug end is 55 millimeters going across this way. The case width, including crown, is 52 millimeters. The bezel diameter is 47.5 millimeters, and the crystal front opening is 35 millimeters across. The crown is an 8 millimeter diameter crown, and it is a screw in variety. The case thickness is 13 millimeters thick, and it is very flat. As I mentioned earlier, it's a very flat, wide case, and there's just not a lot of case curvature at all to the overall design. The bracelet used is a standard 22 millimeter lug width, and it has a gradual taper down to 20 millimeters towards the clasp end. Okay, let's take a close look at the case back. The case back is really nothing special. It's a plain vanilla screw-in type case back. The most interesting thing about it is the exhibition window in the back that shows off the Seiko NH25A automatic movement. The movement itself is very nicely dressed, very well decorated on that wind rotor, as you can see, and very nicely done overall. It's a pretty good deployment of a basic Japanese movement. Okay, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about the Seiko NH25A, but maybe 3 or 4 key points. First of all, you cannot manually wind it at the crown. Secondly, it is a bi-directional winding rotor in there that keeps the mainspring wound. And probably the third thing is it is a non-hacking movement, so you cannot pause the motion of that second sweeping hand when you go to set your watch. Okay, and it's about a 30 to 35 hour power reserve on the NH25A. Okay, so you can pretty much just Google search, look up NH25A, and you can find just about a ton of information out there on the web about it. So that's pretty much all I'm going to say, all I'm going to really talk about it in that regard. So let's see, let's turn the watch over, and looking through the Flame Fusion crystal window, you can see mine is the matte black dial. It uses applied hour markers at every position, and those markers are filled with Invicta's own Trittonite luminescent paint blend. The hands of the watch are polished stainless steel with glow-in-the-dark Trittonite paint filled in. And the sweeping second hand again has a small paint dot at the very end. So this is the date complication version, or this is a date complication movement, I should say. I don't think there's a day-date complication of the NH25A, so this is basically a date-only complication, and you can see it is a white on black date wheel with a nicely applied magnifier over it and a nice polished windowsill around that date window. Okay, so the 47.5 diameter rotating unidirectional rotating dive bezel uses a 120 click mechanic, and it's very nice and very smooth, very easy to rotate, and very easy to grip because it has a nice, very nicely done coin edge around that bezel. It also has a nice glow-in-the-dark Trittonite luminescent pip at the 00 position. So for whatever reason, the glow-in-the-dark pip doesn't glow quite as brightly as the hands or the dial markers. So, but it still works. Okay. So anyhow, let's dim the lights, charge up the loom, and take a look at that. Charge it up a little bit. There we go. Okay, done. Okay, so there you have it. You can see the motion of that second hand sweeping around. And just here in this quick demonstration, you can see how the 00 pip on the bezel is slightly dimmer than the hands and the dial markers. Okay, so for what it's worth, I personally have not had any problems reading the time on this watch all through the night. It doesn't glow terribly bright, but it glows very long, and I have no problem seeing it. With my night vision adapted for nighttime visibility, I can very clearly read the time on this watch. I'm a light sleeper. I'm a very light sleeper, so it's not uncommon for me to wake up in the middle of the night at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so there's the lume. And let's see, we talked about the bezel. Did I talk about the bracelet? So the bracelet is Invicta's generic Pro Diver bracelet. They use this bracelet on countless of other Pro Diver series watches. It uses stainless steel links that are about 3 millimeters in thickness. There are no screws on this bracelet. It uses only friction split pins that you see here, and you can make micro adjustments here at the clasp. Okay, so it uses a traditional fold-over diver's safety clasp that you can find on any number of Invicta watches. Okay, the end links between the strap lugs are also folded steel right in here. Okay, so that's pretty much it. This is, in my opinion, this is basically Invicta's stab, I guess, at the dive tool type designs. There's really nothing fancy or flashy really about it, aside from the case signature on the side. You know, so what you're looking at here is a 2-month-old watch. I put my scratches all over the bracelet. I don't really baby my watches. I'm pretty rough on them. I'm not afraid to scratch them and use them. I've already scratched the crystal. I smacked it into some ceramic bathroom tile, gave it a good whack, and there's a scratch right there. So for what it's worth to you guys, the hardest materials in your house, in your home environment that you encounter day to day are ceramic bathroom tiles, things like marble countertops in a kitchen, especially those big thick slab countertops that hang over the edge. It's right in line with your watch, so you got to watch out for that. For what it's worth, I have not found a watch crystal yet that can survive me without scratching. I've got scratches all over every watch that I own, so I'm just a klutz, I guess. Okay, so take what you want from that. So anyhow, I think that's pretty much it. I'm not going to go into details about the box. It's a standard yellow Invicta gift box. There are other guys doing F0066 watch reviews, and they go into detail about the box used, but I'm not going to bother with that. So I bought this watch for $52 during the Black Friday week at worldofwatches.com. So at that price range, I think you're getting a heck of a lot of watch for just not a lot of money. Okay, I think some of the key strengths of this design are, number one, the larger diameter bezel, larger case size overall. Number two, the screw down crown. Some watches do, some watches don't, but very few watches in this price range, $50 to $100, actually do have a screw down crown. Some do, some don't. It's hit or miss. I guess maybe half of them do. Okay, the other thing is a nice, very reliable, very accurate automatic movement. Okay, and coin edge bezel. I like a coin edge bezel. It grips nicely, it turns nicely. I like to use it to time things throughout my day. You don't have to be a diver to find use for a rotating dive bezel to time things. I have chronograph watches, quartz chronograph movements with dive bezels on them. I don't even use the chronographs. I just use the dive bezel and I can time whatever I need to time. So, so for what it's worth, I do use my watches actively in and out of the Pacific Ocean, shoreline swimming with my kids, water slide parks. Ever take a watch to a water slide and just bang the thing on the side of the water slide as you go down? It is hell on your watch. So I haven't used this watch actively much outdoors yet because it's been so cold here in the middle of winter, but I'll have to add some annotations maybe to this YouTube video if I find any failures along those lines. So anyhow, that's pretty much it. Feel free to ask any questions you guys might have. So this has again been a review of the Invicta F0066 200 meter 20 ATM water resistant Pro Diver. Thanks a lot, guys, and I'll catch you later.